Mecca and Ghost history? What do you mean? How does this nigga know everybody? This is stupid. Sick of it, man. What's good, gang? We back with it, man. Yeah, man. So, hey, it's been real nitty gritty. Like I said, man, you know, we seen the mashup showdown. MovieBot broke it down for us, and now we know what's coming. We seen the book for Force. Tommy heading to Chicago. He already gonna be on the demon time with the ratchets on him. You know what I'm saying? So it's finna get crazy February 6th. But hey, oh man, we finna go ahead and get straight into it. Mecca Ghost History, returning characters teased. And you know MovieBot got it for us, so we finna get it.
So another week with another Courtney Kemp Q&A, breaking all things down Power Universe related. And as usual, we're going to break down some of the main key points from the Instagram Live, mainly focusing on Power Book 2 Ghost and Episode 6. Now, she did also tease some things about Power Book 4.
I don't know if y'all know her, but Courtney Kemp, I think she's like one of the writers of Power and all that good nature. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, she be throwing out the teasers and stuff on her Instagram Live. I be tapping in sometimes. I be missing out sometimes. Y'all know I be getting this bread and I be tapping in with y'all to make sure y'all caught up with me and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so Courtney Kemp, look her up on Instagram. She'll have all that good nature for you too, man. And crazy thing is, MovieBot ties all this in with it too. Like, watch.
I'll be doing separate breakdowns for those in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So let's get into all things Power Book 2 Ghost. And of course, we're going to start with the title of this video, Ghost and Mecca. Did they cross paths?
Talisa Bridges, have Mecca and Ghost ever crossed paths? Stay tuned.
So stay tuned for whether Mecca and Ghost have ever crossed paths. And this is something that was teased before the season even began, because of how the actor teased that he could have many connections to other characters. And I don't think Mecca is Ghost's brother, but he definitely moves like Ghost does. He also has his penthouse suite like Ghost did. And he also has a very similar backstory with Monet, just like Ghost did with Angela. And Kane also did mention the name Tariq St. Patrick to Mecca in episode 3. And the way he looked at Tariq in this scene, did he recognize him? If Mecca knows who Ghost is and has crossed paths with him before, you would have thought he would have done all his background checks on Tariq as well. And when he crosses paths with Tariq, because I'm sure it's going to happen at some point, could we hear about his past with Ghost?
No, we ain't hearing it.
That he knew his father, because I would love to see Tariq's face.
This nigga already know too many people.
Let's talk about returning characters.
1. Will we see any previous Power characters return by the end of this season? The answer is yes.
And there are so many characters that could return. We've still not seen Tube return. There's also Cristobal in jail, Roberto, Ramona, and there's Destiny as well,
about
and so many others. And it would make sense if one of them was Tube, but I really wouldn't be surprised if there were a few other returning characters, especially to set up Season 3, because who else noticed when the BSKs were mentioned? Kino said that the leader is in jail, and he's only holding it down until he gets out. So who knows who that could actually be? Could it be Cristobal, who's the leader of the BSKs? Because we know he's inside.
I would never
mention no one for no reason. So it's definitely something to watch. Who's the leader of the BSKs?
I think it might be
let's move on and talk all things Tariq. And does Tariq trust Cooper Sachs?
Will there be a time, will there come a time when Tariq truly trusts Sachs?
No.
I don't think so. That is mostly because, I mean, do you trust Sachs? You guys are watching. Is Sachs worth trusting? I'm not sure. I love Shane. Shane Johnson is a very different person from Sachs. Love him, and Shane is definitely trustworthy. I'm not so sure about Sachs. And Tariq, he's still trying to figure out who he can trust.
And this is something we spoke about just recently. Tariq won't be able to trust Sachs because of the history and how they've had Sachs behave in the past. But Tariq doesn't have much of a choice, whether he trusts Sachs or not. He needs him. But what about Sachs himself?
Trying to keep him locked up. So one of the things that we're kind of exploring is that Sachs hasn't fully gotten himself all the way out of being a prosecutor yet. He's still thinking like a prosecutor, so he's still thinking like the truth is what matters. And what Davis is trying to tell him over and over and over again is the truth is not what matters. What matters is defending our client. And also making money. And those two things aren't mutually exclusive, but as you guys know, Davis is about his money, all the time.
And this is the issue with Sachs. When you've been doing something for years and years, you're kind of stuck in your ways. And that's what Sachs is. he's stuck in his prosecutor's mentality, and we saw it when he told Diana
That
they couldn't
makes
help
more
him with
sense,
Lorenzo. And again, when Sax said Tariq was guilty, but McLean is someone who never asks questions that he doesn't want the answers to. And something else that Courtney Kemp touched on was Sax's relationship with Jenny Sullivan, and that's also on his mind. But his relationship with Jenny is something that I think will help Tariq, but it really depends how far Cooper Sax is willing to go. And while we're on the topic of trust, can Tariq trust Effie and Braden?
Good questions today. These questions are so good. Here's the thing. He doesn't have anybody else. I think we dramatized in episode 6 that, like, Tasha's gone. Because if Tasha were still around, would he trust Effie? Probably not, because Tasha would be saying to him, stay away from that girl, right? If he could fully trust Braden, I mean, he comes to that at the end of the episode, but only because of Effie. But he really doesn't feel like he has anyone. I mean, Lauren has turned her back on him, so, you know, it's like he's almost without options, and any port in a storm. 71.
And
Why
they
did
always do
Effie
good
ask
business.
how close will she be
They get
working
business
with Kane?
done.
This is a great question. In the actual scene, she says to Tariq, "Oh, I'm just worried about you." Do you feel like that's what she's worried about? I'm just asking you guys. Is that what she's worried about? I don't know. I think it's all plays into the area of can you trust Effie? And I want you guys to again stay, keep watching. But those of you who are asking the question are asking a very good question. Because what if we should
Hey,
about Effie?
Tariq and
Effie
Effie is
similar
like
sides
Sax
of
and the other
coin.
chick.
I've always said this. Lauren is too.
They just be clapping cheeks,
Diana's too
bro.
hot.
They
Lauren's
don't
too
be
cold.
on nothing
Effie is
else.
just right. There's a lot about Effie that's just right for Tariq. But the problem with that is that if she's just like Tariq, can Tariq be trusted? You guys should always be asking that question. Can Tariq be trusted?
Now, Effie's always out for number one, and she'll always do what's best for herself. And that was made clear to us in Power when she snitched on Tariq. And this is why there'll always be a question mark surrounding Effie. And Tasha did also warn him in season 1. If you can't trust this girl, then get her to trust you. But I don't think we're seeing this from Tariq. He really is putting his trust in Effie. But Effie asking about working with Kane, there is definitely something more to this. And remember how Effie's brother was killed in a robbery gone wrong? Who knows if Kane was responsible for her brother's death and her wanted to get revenge? Because we may not have necessarily have seen the robbery gone wrong on a scene in Power, and it would be a cool way to connect the two characters. But again, sticking with this topic of trust, Tariq will definitely find out about Lauren and The Wire.
Izio890_ will Tariq ever find out that it was Lauren's wire and her rollie that convicted him to prison? Well, she was part of the problem. Yeah, he's gonna find out some things. Kanan actually told him, I don't know if you guys noticed that Kanan said it's the people that you love. It'd be your own kids, right? It'd be your own kids.
And this really stems from Tariq not seeing the whole chessboard that Kanan was referring to, because he did tell him in his hallucination scene that it wasn't just Kane. He needed to think about all his offs. And I mentioned before that he's not been able to piece the puzzle together about Carrie and Lauren's involvement just yet, but he will do soon. And the last one on Tariq before we move on to the Tejadas is Kane and Tariq's guardian angel.
Is 50 Cent the guardian angel? I think you mean guardian angel, and what I would say is not really. He's a hallucination of Tariq's. Like, his guilt about killing Kanan is still in there, and so it's bringing Kanan forth as kind of a father figure. But he's not appearing of his own accord. I feel like your guardian angel appears of its own accord to show up and help you. Kanan is more like when Tariq is really under stress, Kanan pops up in his mind as like a guiding voice. It's almost as though you would think that like Tariq's inner guiding voice would be Ghost or Tommy, but it's guilt. He has a lot of guilt over the Kanan kill. Remember, he was younger when he killed Kanan also, or when he got Kanan killed, I should say.
And Kanan is someone who Tariq definitely cared about more than Ghost. And a topic which one of the regulars, CJ, brought up in the comment section was talk about why Tariq has hallucination scenes of Kanan rather than Ghost. And the thing is with this, Kanan is Tariq's voice of reason. He never wanted to go down the path that Ghost chose for him, but Tariq wanted to be his own man, and Kanan was someone who accepted Tariq for what he wanted to be. Ghost didn't, and then we saw them build this relationship and bond which was broken, because Tariq was forced to choose either Tasha or Kanan. But this is a topic that I will dive deeper on in a separate video, so let's move on and talk about the Tejadas and Lorenzo and Zeke.
We watching that one, yeah.
Born ready 1993, why didn't Lorenzo know who Zeke was at the party? Okay, this is a great question, and I know a lot of people are asking that. So Lorenzo is aware of who, like, that Zeke exists, but they haven't met in person because Zeke actually moved to New York after, like, for high school. So Lorenzo was inside. So they actually haven't really met or really talked to each other, and that's part of it.
So Lorenzo's been in prison for 10 years, so he's never met Zeke before, because Zeke only came down when Lorenzo was inside. But who was Zeke raised by? he was raised by Monet's sister called Lena, and he was told that his father was in jail, and Courtney kept teased that we'll see Lena in season 3. But coming to Zeke's age, he is the oldest out of Monet's kids. Now, I don't think there is a timeline issue, because they definitely showed us Kane's date of birth on purpose on this rap sheet, which showed us that he's 24 years old. So how old is Zeke if Kane is 24 years old? I do think the writers are up to something, and there's a bigger twist at play with this storyline, so let's wait and see.
Whoa.
But what about Lorenzo noticing about Drew
That
and
means
Ev?
Zeke, like,
Hasn't been able to notice Moni's been acting weird
26.
ever since he came home.
How can Renzo peeps Drew's interest in the man but can't see Monet as distant? Okay, so Lorenzo is lying to himself a little bit about Monet's behavior. I don't know if you guys heard in episode 6, but there's a moment that we actually showed where Monet is like, why isn't she happy that you're home? I mean, I'm sorry, Diana asks him, why isn't she happy? And he says, oh, she's just trying to get used to it. It's been a long 10 years. Like, he's telling himself things. Lorenzo's coming in a little bit arrogant, if you guys have noticed. Like, he's coming in a little bit hot. And so he's not really listening to or paying attention to the things that he's not paying attention to. What he's really paying attention to is Drew.
So Lorenzo seems like he's dropping the ball when it
That's
comes
all
to
he cares
Monet,
about.
because I mentioned that he was good at reading people
Can you
in my
say-
last video, which is when it came to Drew. But that's Lorenzo's problem. He's so focused on Drew, he's not seeing how Monet is behaving. But having said that, we need to remember that he does know about Monet's exit strategy that didn't include him, because Diana and Drew both told him. So I do think he's going to start to watch Monet more closely, because he knows more than she thinks. But what about Lorenzo meeting Mecca?
7, what's Mecca's MO with meeting Lorenzo? I need answers, Courtney. Okay, I will give answers. Here's the deal. What did Monet say in this episode? She said, we're done. I'm shutting it down. You're not going to meet Tariq. None of these things are going to happen. I'm not doing any of that. I mean, not Tariq, Zeke. You're not going to meet Zeke. I'm Xing you out. The thing is over between us. Now, did you guys really think Mecca was going to let that be over? Absolutely not. He's not feeling that. So now he's going to get at Monet any way he can. And he's got 2 open targets. He's got Zeke and he's got Lorenzo.
And this is exactly what we went through in my last video, with how Mecca was going to come at Monet through Lorenzo as well as Zeke, because this still allows Mecca to stay in control over Monet. Now, she also did tease that we need to pay attention to this woman that was driving the red car in episode 2, because
Bumping
many
that
of you
music.
guys in the comment section and on Instagram have noticed that she's the shooter in this scene. So it does seem like she's one of Mecca's soldiers. But let's move on and talk about Davis McLean and his brother Theo, and how he plans on using Cooper Sax.
So who
When
is
Davis was
that?
talking about the truth tying her hands to Sax, is this why he needs Sax to clear his brother? He needs Sax to clear his brother for. We actually said it in the first couple episodes. He says to Tariq, he's joking, but not really. Sometimes you need a white guy. But what he really needs is somebody who knows the prosecutorial system from the inside, and he needs Sax to do that. And he's going to use all of Sax's connections, qualifications, and in some ways his whiteness. I think so much of power is about using people, but that's because you can get different power from different people. So I think that's a super important thing.
And he needs Cooper Sax because he can get shit done that McLean can't. And we saw an example of this when we saw Sax getting Grandma Estelle a desk appearance ticket, and McLean even admitted that this is something that even he couldn't do, and this is why he's going to be so beneficial when it comes to helping release Theo. Now, I don't know if you could see Theo being released this season, but it would make sense to release him to set up another character storyline going into season 3 if a major character is killed off this season, because Courtney Kemp did tease we're going to see more backstory from McLean in season 3. But elsewhere in the live, she touched on how Westerns have more of a pull at Stansfield than Simon Stern, and will Carrie get what's coming to her? The thing is, there's been a lot of people that have done a lot more worse and remained alive for a lot longer, and one of them was Dre. But for me, Carrie is a ticking time bomb, because she knows too much, she's messing with the St. Patrick, and we all know there is only going to be one winner, and that's Tariq. But I'm going to end it here with what Courtney Kemp teased for episode 7.
So a preview of next episode. The next episode is about making decisions for other people, and you're going to learn more about the fate of Yasmin St. Patrick. So,
What? No. Whoa. That's gonna be crazy, man. Hey, keep tuning in, keep tuning in. Y'all already know. Hey, actually, that new episode come out this weekend, bro. So if y'all ain't tapped in with all of this yet, man, hey, come through. Hit that like button. Let me know in the comments what y'all thinking, man, because I know y'all thinking the same stuff I'm thinking. Some of my questions was answered, but I guess I gotta watch the show for me to get all my questions answered. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, but I gotta get up out of here. Live by the four, style by the four. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty, respect, hustle, motivation. I'm gone. What you still doing here? What you still doing here?